Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So today I want to talk about the Vinsmoke and how exactly they're going to participate in this catastrophe of a tea party. And so guys, this theory was first brought to my attention on Twitter by @HBShanks16, and what he has to say I think is worthy of sharing. But this honestly shouldn't take very long, so let's just get right into it. As we learned in the last chapter of One Piece, the Vinsmoke, despite being a technologically advanced country, Judge Vinsmoke being probably one of the smartest people in the world, and his children being genetically enhanced in ways that we probably can't even imagine, they are still idiots. I believe this line in particular will go down as one of the stupidest things anyone has ever said in the story of One Piece. There should be honor among thieves, really, dude? You are actually surprised that you got betrayed by a pirate again, But anyway, long story short, the Vinsmoke got caught with their pants down, and they left themselves completely vulnerable to the Yonko Big Mom. And how we know this is definitely true is, aside from it appears as though Perospero, using his candy powers to prevent them from moving, essentially put candy cuffs on them. In addition to this, they also came to the tea party without any weapons, or specifically their raid suits. So this really begs the question, how exactly are the Vinsmoke going to fight at all during the events of the tea party without these things? Well, there are two ideas which could possibly be in combination, or individual assets Oda could pull in order to give the Vinsmoke their full fighting prowess. But before we get into that, I do want to say that at least the Vinsmoke children, Yonji, Niji, and Ichiji seem capable of fighting without their raid suits. Specifically, Niji is shown using some sort of electricity-based powers, and it does not appear as though he's wearing his raid suit. And now this is debatable, I'll get into this a bit later, but I don't think that they are 100% nerfed without their suits. I'm more of the opinion that their suits in some way amplify their abilities. But regardless of this, I want to see the Vinsmoke at full power. So how could they possibly end up getting their raid suits? Well, let's first look at what Yonji said. Yonji said that their weapons and their raid suits were taken at the front door. Now, just to make this over complex as I normally do, I do want to say that we saw the Vinsmokes before they arrived at the door, and we saw them afterwards amid the tea party, and there is no noticeable difference in appearance from when they first arrived to when they actually got inside the tea party. So essentially, Yonji says here that they had to change out of their raid suits when they arrived at the door, that they weren't allowed to bring them in, but I honestly couldn't tell that they were wearing them beforehand. This could be a mistake on Oda's part, or a mistranslation from the last chapter, or something weird could be going on here that I can't possibly explain. Let's just take Yonji's words at face value that they were wearing their raid suits and had to take them off at the front gate. Guess who was guarding the front gate? Also, guess who is the head of security who would be in charge of matters relating to making sure that all guests adhere to Big Mom's policy regarding the tea party? Well, you should have guessed it by now. Our man Capone. Capone, the head of security, was in the front gate and most likely dealt with the Vinsmoke's removal of weapons and their raid suits. We also know that Capone and the Straw Hats premeditated a plan in order to rescue the Vinsmoke, and if the plan went south at any point in time, or if they required the Vinsmokes to fight at any point in time, it would be very prudent for Capone to have in some way saved their weapons and their raid suits in case they were ever needed to be a part of the fight. In addition to this, Capone has a very useful ability in which he's able to store things inside of him, having eaten the Castle Devil Fruit. You put this all together and you come up with a very simple theory that the Vinsmokes will, in short order, actually have their raid suits and their weapons again, having been given it by Capone. Now, I don't know when this will happen, but I imagine if the need arises for the Vinsmoke to fight, Capone will have the ability to produce whatever he took from them at the front gate. But let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's go a little bit further. One interesting thing about the Vinsmoke supposedly not having their raid suits is there seems to be at least one aspect of technology still on Niji. And also Yonji as well, although he lost them at some point between last chapter and this chapter. But that's not important. What I'm trying to say here is that Niji is still wearing his headphones. And guys, just to be 100% honest with you, we don't know much about the Vinsmoke tech or how they use their various gadgets, but I highly do not believe that the headphones are just for show. They actually do something, and so what could the headphones possibly do? Well, they could potentially like emit some kind of sound that would be distracting. I could see that, that'd be pretty cool. But more realistically, Niji can actually hear something through the headphones. And if you're talking about a family who specializes in warmongering, it very well could be used for communication. Now I know that Niji and Ichiji were shown using a Dendenmushi to communicate with their father. It could be that distance plays a role in how exactly these headphones communicate. Like, you would use the headphones to communicate to nearby family members or troops, but for long distance you'd use a Dendenmushi. I can't say for certain, but what I can say is that there's a very interesting thing in the last chapter that I want to point out to you, which is there seems to be something interesting going on with Niji's headphones. Do you see those squiggly lines? Those lines are reminiscent of the kind of lines that are drawn to imply sound, as though some kind of sound is emanating from Niji's headphones. In fact, now that I look at it further, Niji's headphones are the only ones that appear to contain antennae. And so guys, if you see what I see, then this has to be important. And so, who could Niji possibly be communicating with? And I think it's very possible that he's communicating with the rest of Germa Kingdom, which happens to be in Whole Cake Island currently, but not the actual Tea Party. They can't be witness to what is going on right now. However, if Niji is actually communicating with them, we could expect their arrival at some point in time. And so guys, to tie this back with the original premise of this post, they could bring with them the Vinsmoke's raid suits and additional weapons so that the Vinsmoke can fight at full strength. And if at any point in time you thought to yourself, wow, the events of this last chapter of One Piece were chaotic, guys, if the entirety of Germa Kingdom shows up at the Tea Party, this could only get even more intense. But anyway guys, that's all I really want to talk about today. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree and why. Share your thoughts. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. Subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always guys, have a wonderful day.